Coming up in this episode, do you like scaring children?
I see this bird looking at us.
Do you like torturing wives? How about pissing off neighbors? Then watch this.
It is a Tuesday. I am out here just kind of tinkering, just looking at things. Gonna change the spark plug gap. I got kind of curious about the coolant system, spraying water. So I put a pressure gauge on it. Show you this guy here. And I got it up to like 17, 19 PSI and started hearing a hissing coming from this guy. So I think that's just like some kind of a plug. I'm not really sure what it's for, but I'm gonna take it off and see if I can reseal it and maybe replace the O-ring or something, and then re-pressure test it, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, well, as you'd expect, it didn't take much persuasion to get this off, and fortunately, there is O-rings on it, one of which is a little pushed out, that upper one on this end. But as you might be able to notice, one of the tabs broke off. So I didn't even break it off taking it off. I was trying to bend them back because I know that that's kind of what keeps this thing actually on the radiator. And it snapped just bending it straight. So I think I'm going to replace the O-rings and JB weld it. So let's cross our fingers that that holds. Okay, so we got some JB weld on there. Took a little doing to get that thing squished in there, but it's in good. So we will see tomorrow if that holds. Obviously, it's going to need some time. That's a traditional JB weld, so it's like, I think 24 hours or something. But I got other things to do. So I'm going to drain some coolant out of the intercooler system because it's a little, well, it's just straight water is the problem. I need to put a little coolant in there since it doesn't have any leaks now. I can do that. And then maybe I'll put the passenger seat in so somebody go for a ride if they wanted. We'll see. Well, here we are. It's a new day. We have pressure tested the cooling system after we put the plug in with the JB weld. And it's not leaking anymore. But look what is leaking. The radiator. So I can try and pinch that down a little bit more, but I'm not really sure if that's going to make a difference. Really kind of depends on how it's leaking. Looks like it's leaking from between there, so maybe I could squeeze her down a little bit. Let me try that, get back with you. Okay, well, I'll be the first one to say that I am surprised. So what I did was I pumped her up. We're at 18, 19 PSI right now. And then I just took a flat blade screwdriver and I just started pushing in on those fins, or the clamping portion that goes around the plastic outer tube. I just started giving it a little persuasion. And as you can see, it's kind of bubbling a little bit, but hell of a lot better than it was. So I think that's going to be okay for now, but definitely a new radiator is in the future, unfortunately. Okay, so let's close out the cooling system altogether here. So I did a little more looking around and a little more listening, which is very important. I found that my upper radiator hose clamp was a little bit loose on both ends, as a matter of fact. Checked both sides. I am definitely low on coolant, but that makes sense because it was spraying all over this side of the engine bay. So I think cooling system is good. It held pressure at like 19, 20 PSI for about as long as I was willing to wait and listen. So I'm gonna put it all back together, and then what do we have here? Oh, we got new wheels and tires mounted. Nice. We'll see if all this fits. What we're currently working on is wheel fitment. So as I said, I got the rear tires mounted to the new wheels, and I'm gonna say it looks pretty good even with the scrubbed fronts. So the backs are powder coated, removed. They need cleaned at this point because I just have the tires mounted, but they're just a weird, like, machined finish. So as long as you don't get up real close to them, and even if you do, they actually look okay. The fronts are somewhat polished. As time goes on, I'm sure that the EBC brake pads will take a lot of that shine off, but from this angle, I am very happy with that.
We have the meat.
Don't mind my emergency brake here. So the adjustments that I have to do, these are pretty tall tires. They're 60 series, I believe. So we've got some minor issues here. I don't have the fronts on the other side, but I got the backs on, and there's no issues on this side. So the driver's side is the side that was hit, and this side is, I mean, it's not totally clear, but I think it'll be fine. And see if I can just get that edge rolled in a little bit. I really do not want to cut it. I would really just love to get it rolled in a little bit. But like I said, overall, for the price I paid and the trouble, That looks pretty damn good. And I wasn't sure how much it was going to change things, so I wasn't going to roll the fenders until I did this. I had the top bars set at like 6 turns, thinking I needed more differential pinion up, so positive degrees. Come to find out, I needed them down. I went and rechecked everything. So I had 9 degrees of positive, and the rear end was whining, obviously, because all the fluid is probably in the back. So what I needed was -1, because the transmission's a +1. So they need to offset. So right now I have a -2, like 2.5. But what that did, thankfully, was it moved the rear end around so that we have some space. So this is where we're at. This is with the suspension fully compressed at ride height. I just have the car jacked up right now. I'm about to put it on jack stands. So that looks like it's going to be fine. It's like super close, but what I did was I jacked up the passenger front to the point where the tire was off the ground. And then I looked back here and it was, you know, there's probably 1/8 of an inch. So it may rub, it may cut the tire. These are temporary tires anyways. They probably won't last very long. They're Cooper Cobras, you know, they're kind of like old school tires, but I don't expect them to grip very well. I just kind of needed something all season because it rains a lot here. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this thing on jack stands. I'm going to get the wheels off. I'm going to paint the rotors because now you can see the rotors and they're rusty. I'm going to put the suspension back together, tighten everything up. I have a little bit of an E85 leak. We'll call it just a fuel leak. I'm not really sure where or why, but it doesn't seem to be leaking just sitting here. It only seems to be under pressure, so that leads me to believe it's the return line. One of the things I had to do as a compromise to get 2 pumps in this tank was run the return through one of the vent lines. So the tank had 2 vents, if you remember that, and one of the vents is right on the top of the fuel hat where the fuel pumps are. Well, that is just a barb fitting up in there. So if you see this line right here, this is a rubber line. So what I did was I have a barb to just a regular, it's fuel injection hose, but it's just a regular rubber hose that then goes to a barb AN adapter, which they sell if you didn't know. And basically what you can do is just put like a 3/8 hose to a -6. So that's what is going on there. I can tell that this portion here is not leaking, but I can't see the tank side until I get up in there. So that's the next thing I'm going to check out. If that is an easy fix, like just a loose hose clamp, then I might take the fill plug off the diff. Since I built the car, I have never checked the diff fluid. I don't know if it's just eating itself alive or if everything's okay. I mean, you know, everything seems okay driving wise, but you really have no idea until it locks up. So I'm going to check that. And then what else? I don't know. Once I figure it out, I'll let you know. Okay, thanks, bye. Okay, so hopefully you can understand me. I have all of this on because I'm doing a little grinding. What am I grinding on? Well, I forgot that I needed to cut down these wheel studs. So they have these shanks on here. The type of lug nuts that I have to use, let me grab one. Because these damn wheels have such a small bore for the lug nuts, I have to use these like super strange looking internal lug nuts. Well, when you screw them in, they go like that far, and then it pushes the tool out, and you're only getting like, you know, 1/2 inch of tool to tighten them. I'm a little concerned they're going to break. So I'm going to cut this off and gain, you know, 1/4 inch, and then maybe it'll be safer. So that's what I'm doing. All right, we're back. So got all of them cut, both sides. Did some basic wire wheeling. Obviously, it's nothing too nice. The face of it's going to be like almost impossible to wire wheel. These are cut. They're rounded. I haven't taken the lug nuts off yet, but I'm pretty confident they'll be fine. I didn't even get into the threads. Is it going to help a lot? Probably not. Is it going to help some? Yes, it is. So I'm going to leave it. Got my handy dandy trusty Rust-Oleum flat black. Had it in the hot water for a little while. So I'm going to spray it up and move on. Hope to never need this solution that I put in, but I'm glad that I put it in. So just a simple T right off the fuel filter can save you so much time draining your gas tank. Why am I draining the gas tank? The pressure feed on one side of the tank is either loose or stripped or something, or leaking like crazy, because it's leaking like crazy. So I have to drain the tank and drop it. That's what we're doing. So got the tank out, got all the fuel drained. It looked like on the fuel hat that this was the one that was leaking. I put a wrench on it. It loosened really easy, and then I tightened the crap out of it. So I think it's gonna be fine, but I really won't know until I put it back up in there and put some fuel through it. So Fingers crossed that that's all it was. I tightened everything else just to be safe, but nothing was really loose except for that one. So here we go. You can see what it's doing. So I get to drop the tanky in. Sweet. All right, well, it's closing time, and I got some stuff done. The fitting was leaking, so I pulled the tank back down and replaced the fitting. I had another 45-degree 6AN, so that wasn't a big deal. You know, it's a pretty standard procedure. I'm a little surprised that they actually leaked, but you know, you're gonna have one, and that's so far the only one that has leaked. I will put it back up tomorrow and put some pressure on it and see if it holds. It is a different day. Today's Thursday, and I got home from work and put the tank back in, thinking that the fitting I replaced last night would be good to go, and we just drop this thing in and move on to something else. Unfortunately, it leaked. Same spot. So, after doing a little looking, the pipe thread to AN adapter that I had, it was leaking past the threads. And then I'm like, what? That's super weird, because I know I put thread sealer on there. It was white thread sealer you typically would use for like coolant and stuff. And I think the E85 just melted it. So I am using Hylamar Aerograde PL32. If you ever heard of it, it's supposed to be good stuff. It says it's fuel and lubricant resistant. So I'm gonna cross my fingers that this is gonna work, because if not, I will have to go get something else. So waiting for it to set up, then we're gonna assemble. All right, TTR, my bust. It wasn't your fault. It was definitely the thread sealant's fault. Looks like we're good. I don't see it leaking. Let it run for a little while just to be absolutely sure, but I think that is a fix. Finally can put everything back together. Okay, some time has passed. I'm not really sure how long it is. It's 7 o'clock, if you can believe it. Okay, so here's what's transpired. Here's what's happened. I have installed the wheels on the front and put the car down at ride height, or previous ride height, and they hit everywhere. I mean, we're talking here, we're talking here, we're talking here. They didn't hit back there though. I guess that's a positive. So I have raised the coilovers up. They were at 19 turns. I put them at 25 turns. I tried to get them at 30, but I couldn't compress the spring to get it actually installed. So we will see if that is enough. Got to do the other side. I'll put the car back on the ground and I will record what happened, good or bad, and then go from there. I should add, as I tear into the other side, that I am taking these apart and cleaning them. These have not been serviced since I put the car together. You know, they're pretty nasty. And it went through the body shop. I mean, it is caked with who knows what, and the threads are dry. There is anti-seize on them, of course, you know, per instructions, but it's just powder at this point. So taking a little longer. Okay, 25 turns is probably where it should be. It's almost level. It's actually still a little stink bug. I don't know how. I should probably like put a level on this thing and just see how it looks, but I mean, from here, it doesn't look terrible. So I think that fixed the rubbing issue here and here, obviously, because there's all this gap, which I could potentially bring down, but it's still hitting real hard right here. So I'm going to try and make a bracket that just pushes this out, because all it needs is pushed. I don't remember which side, but one of these sides, it just needs pulled out, and then the wheel will fit through. It doesn't have to go very far. Let's see if I can do all this with one hand. Yeah, so if I just pull this out, this is going to clear, and it's still plenty of space between the bumper and the fender. And there's no bracket on this one. The other side's the same. I'd show you the other side, but it's the same. That is left to do, and then I can finally put the interior back in, or at least another seat, which is what I'd like to do. Driving like this, if I hit a pothole or something at a serious turn, or I'm going into a driveway, it may have some rubbing on the fender. I'm gonna have to just feel that out and see how it is. But I mean, that's just kind of the name of the game. 10:30 at night. Same day. But I have good news. I think the front wheels are fixed. It's not beautiful. I want to hear no. I went through a few iterations on what I was going to use, what I was going to do. Look at this guy. This took me a long time. So this was an old exhaust hanger. I got a whole box of these that I straightened and I heated and I pounded and I drilled and didn't use. So that goes in the scrap bin. Maybe another time. What I did use was just some flat iron that I had laying around. So from the factory, you get an attachment point up in the headlight bucket, and it goes to attachment point on the bottom of the fender. I was trying to use that, and then I was up underneath here, and I was like, hey, dummy, there's a hole here and a hole here, and all I'm trying to do is push this out a little bit. So that's what I made. Just a really simple flat iron, and coincidentally, it holds the fender tighter because these things kind of flapped in the wind as I was driving. I don't know if I can show. but the other side is at its closest point. Turn it a little bit, and it doesn't seem to get any worse. Well, okay, it gets a little worse right there, but then it's like, it's close. I could cut the end of this off. I do not want to cut the car if I don't have to, so I'm not going to. If it gets worse or we hit a bump and it scrubs the outside of the tire off, then I will be forced to do so. So that's that side. Please hold. This is what it's like working in the shop by yourself, back and forth. So we're there. I'm gonna go a little bit more. You heard it move. Good to go. It's close, but I think it's gonna work. Okay, I'm gonna put a seat in and then I'm done for the night. Okay, so we got new wheels. We fixed the fuel leak. We fixed the spark blowout. I already data logged it. I took it out a little bit ago just to see if the wheels were rubbing. And I think the emergency brake cable was rubbing a little bit on the inside of the wheel, so I jacked it up, readjusted all of that. So I think we're good. The tires rub the smallest amount. I need to data log this. So I think you'll hear that a little bit, but I don't think it'll be that bad. It's just kind of a scrub every once in a while. The strange thing is though, I don't see any witness marks on the tires. So I don't know. Whatever is rubbing will make it self-evident. Okay. Tune updating. Tune updated. We're at E62. You want to call that a thing? And once I get down to my street, I will start the data log and be back with you. Looked at the tire. It's on this side, the side that I can't really do anything with because I tried moving where the fender peaks at the bottom, the quarter panel, and it actually broke the Bondo that they put there because it was just globbed on there. And it feels like if I keep bending it, it's going to shatter off like a whole section, and that's going to start a whole can of worms I'm not trying to deal with right now. So I'm going to let that noise go and hope it just clears the tire and it stops at some point. Second gear. Maybe that'll get it. Probably not. Alright, I'm going to do it first and second. Piss these neighbors off. Guess I'm going to do third too. How about that?
Like it. Like it a lot.
It certainly runs better than it used to.
Yeah.
Even with the noises. We can edit stuff out in post.
Okay.
I love you as well. Thoroughly tested. Nothing to worry about.
So you tested it so much that it's wiggled loose.
I've rechecked everything.
The deer were here yesterday.
I saw him.
Well, you were revving your engine, and they just kept like, ooh.
How are you feeling right now?
I still have some neck pain.
You have, oh. Well, put your head back. You got a nice headrest. There you go. Uneasy.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me know if you need heater.
I'm gonna pass out.
You're gonna pass out. That would be a good reaction video.
No, I don't need heat. I'm okay.
I tried adjusting your seat as requested. The problem is the way that I designed the floor, I had to cut these bottom brackets so they're actually kind of where they have to be. hear the supercharger.
Not at all, no.
Yeah, just exhaust, which is how the Cobra was, which is strange.
No, you could hear, that's like, even from here, I could hear the whine of the Cobra.
We'll get a good rip in. We'll get a good rip in, but we're going to let everybody go past. If it ever stops.
Where am I at?
That's what this is about.
Make sure you insert a picture of when I was cool and liked to do this.
When was that?
When I was driving the Cobra.
Gotta get over this bump. Differential. When I get off the gas, it climbs the ring gear, so it starts making noise. How's that? Pretty good?
Yeah. Very good.
How does it compare to the Cobra?
I'm more scared of this because of the noises.
And there's no roll cage.
didn't expect it to be that fast. Because, you know, I don't know.
What? Because it's an old car and you just don't expect it to, like, fly?
Yeah. I guess I just didn't feel like anything could feel faster than the Cobra. And this one just feels like violent, you know? So,
exactly what I wanted. I want every vehicle we own to feel violent, but also drive like this. Just drive around, putt, no problem. I'm warm now. Oh boy.
the one thing that could be improved is to, like, not make it, like, juggle every piece of fat on my body.
Okay, so
My whole face just...
I was gonna tell you, it's a little bouncy now because I had to raise the front suspension up. There's a lot of settings because everything's aftermarket and it's like, it's made for, you know, all the settings. I haven't had time to play with it yet. I'll cut those parts out. I'll just blur your whole body of your head.
Yeah.
So
just
this,
put it in slow-mo so you can really see the movement.
oh yes, that would be nice.
Yeah.
This is about the fastest it's going to be until I do like port work to the heads or the Supercharged or whatever ends up being next, because this is on E85. This is the smallest pulley that I can run. Like this is it.
Okay.
So it's going to get slower when I run just pump gas. I mean, how much slower? I don't know if you'll be able to tell. It's going to be at least 50 horse. That's what I picked up on the Cobra when I went E85, which is a lot. But in this car, it's so light, the gearing's so low that I don't even know if you'd be able to feel it.
Have you done the numbers to see, like, what it would do at a quarter mile?
Well,
Or what do you think it would do, I guess?
it'll do 10s.
Yeah.
I mean, once I get it sorted, it'll do 10s. Right now, I don't know. I don't know what it's putting out. I need to get it tuned by a professional to make sure that I'm not going to blow the engine, which if I did, you know, it's a lot of work, but it's like not even that expensive because I have another one. Just have to rebuild it. Nice.
See this bird looking at us?
Maybe.
Oh, that's a nice car.
Were you not ready for that one?
No.
Looking at that goddamn bird.
Well, it was like one wing was out and it looked stunned like it got hit, so...
Maybe you just got a weird tasting worm or something. Like, that was a gross one. Like I'm full.
So is your water pump, like, running now?
Yeah, it's on 100% right now.
100%? So it's just like
Oh, it's just
tubing water.
what?
Tubing water.
Ripping is what I would say. You want to drive it?
Not like fast. Maybe one day, because I do want to see if it's... I mean, my biggest thing is just killing it at a light, you know, stuff that clutch is weird.
It actually runs really good, like just putting around, so I wouldn't think you'd have an issue with it. Cam sounds good. Definitely turned into what I wanted.
Good.
Thank you.
What year did you buy this?
2015?
Has it been like 15?
2014.
14?
Because I didn't have it very long before I went and saw them. Oh yeah, 2016.
So you got it in 2015?
Well, I got it in January of 2016.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's basically 2015.
How weird. So you've had this for... It's been 6 years.
Pretty much working on it constantly for 6 years straight.
Jeez.
But like, if you imagine guys that don't work on it that often, how long does it take them to finish a project? I just want to take you to the track. I'm so excited to do a wheelie at the track. I gotta figure out the dyno first. I have emailed 3 dynos in the area and got no responses from any of them.
That's weird.
I mean, I got responses from one, but not like the info I need yet. It doesn't have to have E85. E85 is safer to tune on because it doesn't blow your engine as easy.
Is it, This man right here is spending, move, five.
It's cheaper than race gas.
There's a freaking glare, I can't even see it.
Oh, it's fine. It's $2 a gallon. It's amazing. It's such a
Pretty
good
sure
deal.
it says $5.19 a gallon.
Oh. It's actually $5.20 because there's another 9. So 1/10 off. Love you though.
Well, we've hit a dead-end road. Check in with us next time when we hit the dyno. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you next time.